Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to MotorMotion E-Series, where we return for the Mercury Walch TCR Cup. It is Season 4, it is 2025, and rounds behind us, 9. Rounds ahead of us, 1. It's the season finale, it's time for round 10. Our season sponsor, Mercury Walch, proudly sponsoring us at the MotorMotion E-Series TCR Cup. For all your commercial printing, digital printing, direct mail, label printing, large format printing and packaging, please head to www.mercurywalch.com.au. Our season calendar, as mentioned before, 9 rounds behind us: Autopolis, Tokyo, Panorama, Interlagos, Atlanta, Trial Mountain, Dragon Trail Gardens, Nürburgring, Maggiore, and now, of course, round 10 at Catalunya GP for a 24-lap race and your season finale standings and some interviews as well. We've got a different format for you tonight. More on that in a few moments' time. The calendar is great, but what's even better is the standings at the moment, because the battles were close all the way through the season. 1 round to go, and Ryan Spann still on top for Cooke, 504 points, and he is now 24 points clear of Scott Taylor in for Gridline Racing. In third place, it's Nick Pfaff for Asta Racing on 468 points, followed by Mark Pacheco on 438. Andrew Scott making his way back up after the drop rounds were applied on 428 points, and Luke Stone in 6th place for Team Capital on 420. Then in the team's title, it is Cooke Driver Development on top by 4 points at the end of round 9. And this is after the drop rounds applied, so it's still all to play for. The results are going to be key at today's race. Gridline Racing on 924 points. Very, very close. This is the big battle, the battle of the two giants. And then Lightning Motorsport in 3rd place, followed closely by Team 55, Asta Racing, and finally it is Team Capital on 694 points. Going to be an interesting one today. We've got a few little technical things to talk to you about once we get in, but we will have some race replays, some highlights, some interviews, and some general chat, so stick around because it's going to be a lot of fun today on our very first live stream of the season. Let's get into it. Well, welcome in to one and all. My name is George Cooke. We're going to be joined today by Andrew Scott, Nick Pautasso, Scott Taylor, and a number of others who are going to be participating for some interviews today. Guys, great to have you in here. There's a few things that we need to discuss, but we'll get around the table quickly. Andrew, welcome in.
G'day, mate. G'day, viewers, and g'day, fellow commentators and guest speakers. Yeah, g'day, George. Glad to be here.
Going to be a good one. Nick, welcome in.
Yes, pleasure to be here. It's been a great season here in Season 4 for the TCR Cup, sponsored by Mercury Walch. I'm excited for the final round and excited to hear from our point of view from our drivers here as well. So excited for what is going to be a fun stream tonight.
Should be indeed. And of course, our season and TCR organizer, it is the main administrator, the man who's been keeping us on our seats all season long, head of Gridline Racing and the Gridline Racing main driver. And it is, of course, Scott Taylor. Welcome into the commentary box. We need you in here more often, I think.
Yes, good evening, George. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, fellow commentators. It is good to be back in the box. I don't think I've been in here since, I think, the end of Season 3, so it's good to be back here again. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you in here. Always welcome, and we have to wrangle you in a few more times throughout the seasons and maybe even the GT3 champs. We'll have actually Jeff Bruin joining us a little bit later on. He's going to be talking about the GT3 championship season coming up and beginning on the 30th of September. I think the registrations are still open, so please head to www.motormotioneseries.wordpress.com. Get yourself signed up, get all the information on the website. That's going to be the premier event of the season, in Jeff's opinion, and we might have a slightly differing opinion here because we are TCR lovers. In chat, we're on 3 different live streams today. We're on the MotorMotion E-Series YouTube, coming to you live. Yes, we can see you in chat. Trackspot TV YouTube, as well as the Trackspot TV Twitch. If you have any questions, if you want to get something answered by the organizers or by the commentary team, we are here at your disposal today. So let's talk a little bit about round 10, chaps. We do have a replay. Unfortunately, that's a singular. We only have one replay because unfortunately something happened to the Lobby 1. During the Tuesday's race. Scott, maybe you want to tell us a little bit about what happened.
Yes, unfortunately we had an incident in Lobby 1. We got to lap 16. We were going around beautifully, and all of a sudden the lobby decided to crash on us. So we consulted the rule book, and as we had finished over 50% of the race, but less than 75% of the race, the rule book dictated that the results be called there and then, as they were at the point of the disconnect, with half points being awarded to those drivers.
There we go. So not the end to Lobby 1 and the big battle between Gridline Racing and me, Cooke, that we really wanted to see. Obviously, Andrew and Nick and myself were really keen to watch the replay and see that live broadcast. Sadly, though, viewers, we will not have any Lobby 1 coverage today. Instead, we will have a little bit of Lobby 2 coverage. So we'll be playing that in the background while we chat to you. And we'll also have some highlights that we will queue up throughout today's broadcast. So, well, I think no point messing around here at all. Let's get into Lobby 1 and let's just see what's happened, because at the end of the day, that was the big battle that we were so hoping to see. So let's get that up on screen now. And it was Ryan Spann and Andrew Scott on top, both in the 151.9s, Nick.
Yeah, that's very, very close between the two teammates. And that's just kind of been the battle throughout the whole season. It's always been Ryan Spann and Andrew Scott battling it out for that pole position. I feel like Ryan Spann got the most out of the Me Cougar 119 when it comes to qualifying. So he always managed to get a lot of pole positions compared to his experienced teammate in Andrew Scott. So, but really like 300ths of a second between the two of them. You can't separate them at all. And then you had the Gridline boys, third and fourth, right on their tails throughout the whole season. But it's kind of been that story, I would say, between the two boys in Me Cougar and Gridline. But you know, when it comes to the racing itself, I'm sure, and obviously we don't get to see it today, I'm sure it would have been a fantastic battle between these two heavyweights.
Absolutely right. Well, I think we'll hand it to Andrew Scott and Scott Taylor. Maybe talk us through a little bit of what happened before we bring the results up for Lobby 1.
Yeah, we had a really good start. I got the jump on both Andrew and Ryan off the start line and took the lead pretty early on, and then it became obvious that I was probably on the wrong strategy for it. But you know, I thought it's the last round. I've got nothing to lose here. It's either go big or go home. Pulled a bit of a gap over them, but when I realised they were on the one stop, and then I realised just how long it was going to take to do a two stop, I was like, yeah, this probably isn't the best call to make.
Of course, it was the hard tyre required for this round, and that would have been in evening too. So sunny weather at Catalonia, but hard tyre requirements. I guess the idea was do as little as possible on the hards, jump onto the softs, and do that two-stopper.
Yeah, correct. Because in all of my practice, I was hitting like mid to low 55s, 1 minute 55s on my hard tyres, whereas I was pulling low 52s on my soft tyre. I was still a little bit unsure at the start of the race whether to try for a one stop or a two stop, but I couldn't seem to get the range out of the fuel tank either. So I thought, let's just go for the two stop, and we will see what happens here.
So as my understand, Andrew, is the supercomputer off limits to Gridline Racing at the moment, is it?
It was for that race, mate. Like, there was too much at stake, so we had to change the password on the supercomputer, and we locked them out, that's for sure. Like, Ryan and I got very cagey with not letting anything away in any practice session or chat we had with any Gridline driver, because it was that critical. Because the two strategies were very close, actually, but the minute we put into the supercomputer the pit stop duration for this track, which is nearly 32 seconds, it spat out and told us to do the one-stopper, and we weren't completely sold on it. We had to do a complete mock-up race before the round and to confirm that. But the data actually confirmed with the supercomputer what was optimal, and we did that. And unfortunately, because of the disconnect, we were sitting pretty. We were net first and second, but unfortunately, it didn't pan out for us because someone was ahead of us on track and had the track position at the time of the dropout. So we missed out on the 1-2, unfortunately.
Indeed. And speaking of which, here are the race results from Lobby 1. And that special someone that managed to be on track in the right place at the right time, I suppose, was Mark Hasseldine for Hassel 1 Motorsport. So bagged himself 25 points, of course, half points as per the rules with a race that didn't reach that 75% mark. So, yeah, Mark Hasseldine. I mean, look, does he have the technical expertise and the access to the GT7 servers to pull a plug somewhere? Did he, get in and snip a couple of wires on Scotty's internet? Wow, what do we think?
Oh man, there's always something about. It's a nice little win for him, I would say. So the Hassel 1 Motorsport has been struggling throughout the whole season in the TCR Cup, obviously reigning champions in the GT3 Championship, and hopefully we get to see those guys pull it back in the next season of the GT3 Champions. But I would say it's a nice little win for Mark. Obviously, right place, right time for him to be in P1. Ryan Spann, obviously, and Ando Scott, second and third. They look to be the step above the others in this race. Obviously, hearing that analytics from Scott Taylor and Ando Scott. So it's it's a disappointing end to how the race panned out, but obviously the rules are rules. Obviously, you go on count back of how the race was, and yeah, it's obviously a nice little win for Mark Hasseldine. Obviously, that does get his name etched into the winners book as a victor in TCR.
Well, and
It's
not
sort
only
of like
that,
staying out.
Go ahead.
Sorry, George. It's sort of like staying out in F1 hoping for a safety car, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
That's sort of what he did. He hung out there,
I believe
and it worked out for him.
I believe he's the only driver this season to beat both Ryan and Andrew in a single race.
That's right. Unfortunately, it could have been the case of Scott Taylor, but unfortunately, obviously the two-stop didn't work. Didn't look like it was going to be the overall plan. But hey, props. We always thought about Scott Taylor or Mark Pacheco beating the Me Cougar boys, or even someone like Luke Stone, Nick Fath. But Mark Hasseldine, that's a true underdog story for sure.
What was the gambling odds on that happening? We would have made a millionaire out of this one, or someone would have been a millionaire, that's for sure. Let's take a look at the bottom
odd.
Yeah, 501 would be a minimum, I think. Yeah. Down in 7th place, it was Mark Hogan. Then Mark Pacheco's obviously caught out of position quite substantially. Graham Splint, Chip Berry, and Dave Crook. And it's been an overall, from all the drivers in this lobby, it's been a fantastic season of racing, watching absolutely all of them go for it. Let's talk a little bit now about, we will come back to Lobby 1 and talk more about it. Obviously, we've got some final results for everyone's viewing pleasure coming up. Let's talk Lobby 2, which we do have a replay for, but we'll be putting on in the background. Nick Pfaff taking pole position there, Nick.
It's always a battle for Nicks, unfortunately, in this commentary booth. It's always good to see Nick on pole position, and it's good to see Nick Pfaff on pole. Campbell Knowles P2, my favourite South African / Australian, Lars Rensburg in P3, Tony Griffin, the old vet, doing well in P4, but I feel like it's going to kind of be that. I have a kind of feeling it's just going to be that one-way result here. Obviously, a smaller field, not so much of the big heavy hitters in Lobby 2. I feel like it's going to be kind of like Nick Pfaff versus Campbell Knowles battle for the victory in Lobby 2. But don't take your eyes off Rensburg. He's been showing us a lot of surprises throughout the whole season in that Mad Turtle car.
Exactly right. So we're going to jump over to the race and get this going. So here we go. We'll have this up in the background. And maybe, Andrew, you could talk us through the beginning of the race and just talk us through a little bit about the strategy decisions that have had to play out today, assuming we can get the replay actually going. It does help if I turn the controller on. There we go. That's a little bit better. So maybe talk us through, Andrew. What's the strategy off the line here? What are the critical corners? Catalonia, great place to go racing, I think.
Yeah, it's another tire killer of a track. Thanks, Scotty, for choosing those tracks for us. But yeah, I tell you what, guys, it's Pfaff and Airborne on the front row, and they're going to be doing different strategies, I reckon. And you look at it there. This Airborne struggling off the line already. I reckon he started on hards, and Pfaff's out to an easy lead there. So I reckon Pfaff's probably going for the 2-stop, and Airborne, if recent history is correct, he will be trying that 1-stopper because that's what he loves to do. And We see there Jansen getting up there into P1 off the start. He might actually be on the softs because he is actually gapping them already in Sector 1 here. So he's on the softs. Interesting choice there. So he's obviously going for the 2-stop. And Faf there, yet to be seen what tyre he's on.
Hards.
But yeah, this is a technical track. Faf's on hards too. Interesting. He might do the old 1 lap on hards, then pit. Let's see what he does.
We will indeed.
And
So,
Airborne's tucked in there nicely too in 3rd place.
So I imagine, Ando, this is sort of a little bit different to what we saw in Lobby 1. I imagine the top 4, which was me, Cougar, and Gridline, all starting on the hard tyres, or was it a mix, or did we have softs everywhere?
I'm not sure what did we start on, Spanny? Spanny's maybe not here in the box, but I'm not sure what happened at the start of our race. I can't quite recall, but Jansen's obviously making hay while the sun shines here on his softs. He's just cleared out. And Faf and Airborne here, they're both on similar tyres. And we'll see if Faf pulls in here. Yep, in he goes, does he? No, stayed out. So Faf and Airborne maybe trying the 1-stopper together. So it'll be interesting to see who prevails here.
Certainly will be. We've got Tony Griffo decided to throw those tyres away immediately, and that would seem to be the general idea, is to spend as little time on the harder compound if you possibly can. And so when you have a hard required tyre for a race like this, Nick, this is that's what you essentially have to do, guys, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's the case of just running the hards. Obviously, a track around like Catalunya, very, very technical track itself. But at the same time, the hard tyre relative to the medium or the soft compound tyre will be a huge delta between them. We can see even with Jansen, he's just pulled away like absolute crazy. That's at least about a 2.5 second gap between himself and Nick Pfaff. So he's making the most advantage on that compound of tyres. But at the same time, it's just about him essentially just pulling a gap, making himself clear between himself and Airborne. And I think just trying that 2-stop strategy, but at the same time, really thinking about getting that 2-stop to work, because he's got Pfaff, he's got Airborne, but take advantage of while you can on that compound of tyres.
Yeah, so you're right to mention it, George. Jansen might actually be the dark horse in this race. He's got the pace, and he is driving well in that Mad Turtle Civic. So he's laying down the gauntlet right now. He's saying to the two maybe preferred or faster drivers, he's saying, "Come catch me if you can." But he knows he's got to gap them. He's got to gap them pretty significantly, because that pit stop duration, now that he's going to be doing one more than the 2 cars behind, he's got to get way out in front to have any chance.
This pit straight is just so long. I mean, I think it's over 1.2 kilometers. I can't remember exactly how long it is, but it is one of the longest ones, certainly on the calendar we've had for TCR.
Yeah, so gearing's important, and all the cars are the parity's pretty good. The cars are all the same. And it just depends what tuning parts you've got on. So they should all be reaching the same terminal speed. But yeah, you're right, George. It is a long straight, particularly when you consider that exiting that last chicane, going through the final corner, you are flat to the floor. So effectively, that last corner is part of the main straight.
Yeah, exactly right. And we've got Nick will be back with us in a few moments' time. Scott Taylor, we were just talking about strategies in Lobby 1. If you recall, at the beginning of the race, were you guys in Gridline, were you on hards, were you on softs?
We both started on the soft tyre, which I think was what allowed us both to get a good jump off the line and get in front of the Me Cougar boys. But then Mark had a wheel issue. I think his power steering failed him, and he shot off the track and went right to the back of the field. So that sort of really put
one of the things you don't want in racing.
Yeah, especially when you're on a 2-stop. But yeah, I mean, end of the day, it was good fun.
So let's talk a little bit high level here about the TCR Cup overall. So obviously, ladies and gentlemen, for those watching, feel free to type any questions you have for our season organizer. We've got Jeff Bruin will join us at some point soon. Ryan Spann will be joining us soon, as will hopefully Troy Britnell and a number of others too, for interviews and the likes. But let's talk high level overall. We'll be seeing the results from Lobby 2 at some point soon, and we'll get to the final standings. But overall, 10 rounds. Scott, I think we'll hear from you first. How do you think it went overall as a season? Compared to the previous 3 seasons, this one's unique. We've had the tuning enabled. Has that worked out? Has the track selection been what you've expected? Have you seen and expected the drivers to enjoy that? Have they enjoyed it? Give us a little breakdown of how you think the season's been.
Overall, I actually think this has probably been the best season we've had so far. The tuning just added a whole nother dimension, and a whole new dynamic to it. I certainly wasn't expecting to be up the pointy end like I thought I was going. I'm not a tuning sort of person, but when I started getting up the pointy end, I thought, I better start putting the effort in here with this. So I basically gave up all my other league racing to focus solely on this. I think the track selection was really good. It was definitely challenging from week in, week out. It wasn't just similar tracks with similar tunes. You had to really do your homework and really get the car dialed into each track. It was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed this season. It surely had to have been one of the best that we've had.
We've had Andrew Scott mention it many times throughout the broadcast. It's a thinking man's game, TCR Cup, and you add the tuning plus the adjusting to each of the tracks here. Maybe Ando wants to step in and mention that. Obviously, there's some final results that'll come out very soon and let you know who is the champion in the teams in the Drivers' Championship. I've already mentioned a couple of names, but Andrew, from your perspective, the thought that needs to go in, the work that needs to go in, was it clear and obvious that there was going to be a battle of the big two?
Yeah, I think Scotty maxed out his subscription to ChatGPT with working out the tunes there. I think it was a close call between him and Mad Turtle Racing, who used ChatGPT the most. Mad Turtle obviously using them for their round summaries each week, but no, it was definitely tuning came into it massively. It just gives the car that little edge it needs if you can get the tune just right, and we're only talking tenths of a second a lap here. The cars are obviously all identical. It's a one-make series, so any sort of little edge you can get in straight line speed or turn in or tyre wear or fuel economy, it pays massive dividends. So me Cooke did their homework pre-season, and we come up with a pretty robust tune and choice of parts that worked for us for the rest of the season. But each round we had to do our homework and tweak that tune each round ever so slightly, just to maximize the pace of the car and to get it to fit in with the pit windows and the overall race strategy that was called for that round. So it was a really good choice of car from Scotty, I think, this season. Really great. It was a risky call to bring in tuning into a series, and I think it absolutely paid off. We had great attendance every round, or most rounds, and really good camaraderie between the drivers and really good competition all the way down through the grid throughout the whole season. And it just added that extra element, and I thought it was a master stroke to bring in these cars for this season. And I agree with Scotty. I reckon this season was the best season ever of the 4. Has there been 4? Is there?
Yes,
Who's won them each time? Oh, that's right. Yeah, four seasons
I don't have
of
that.
TCR.
I don't have that data available at the moment. Sorry.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, all the results are redacted until.
I'm pretty sure it'll know who's won all 4.
All the final results are redacted until we get up to that point of the stream. Of course, coming to you live. We've got Motion Media in the chat saying great overlay for the broadcast. Thank you very much. and I hope you're having a good time out there. Let us know in chat if you have any questions. I'm going to throw it to Nick to ask a few questions because he's been intimately involved, likewise with myself and Andrew Scott through the broadcasting side, watching a lot of the racing. So I'll hand it to Nick for asking some questions around the group here. That is assuming that Nick's mic is still working. It may not be, because we can't hear him at the moment. And this is unfortunately one of the recurring fun things throughout the season. Talking about recurring fun things throughout the season, 0.5 second penalties. Anyone got anything to say on that?
The silence is deafening.
Yeah.
Yeah, they heard at Maggiore, I heard. They're pretty punishing.
They hurt
Yes.
pretty much every
They
circuit.
hurt pretty much at every track. Yes, unfortunately, that 0.5 second at Trial Mountain was not part of the plan. for that
Oh, was it Trial Mountain, was it? I thought it was Maggiore where you...
No, it was at Trial Mountain. Got the jump on Spanny off the line and threw it into the first turn, and about 2 seconds later, this big red box pops up on the screen, exceeding track limits, 0.5. Thought, you are kidding me. So.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't a penalty at Maggiore. It was just a little trip into the sand, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
It was just a little bucket and spade moment in the sand there out of...
Yes,
Big
I
Bank.
saw some
That's right.
sand that needed to be built up into a sandcastle and went out there to build it.
That's very similar to the intention of the team that I was in for a while called Jim's Mowing. And we had no intention of driving on tarmac all race long.
Jim's Mowing. I like that.
It was great. We will have Nick Pautasso back in the commentary box soon, getting a couple of technical issues, so we will have him back soon. MotorMotion, Motion Media in chat saying TCR is known for its incredible door-to-door racing. Which driver is most likely to make an aggressive move in the first few corners? I think that's Andrew Scott, actually. Andrew, you've had a few interesting moves. I recall Nürburgring, where you made a little bit of a dive bomb on a few people at turn 1.
That was a sexy move, George. Come on, mate. Like, I thought that was clean. And not to mention Maggiore, but we won't talk about that one either. But the stewards exonerated me on both counts. And it's a risk reward thing. I think Nick Spud knows this all too well. You got to risk the biscuit particularly at the start of the race, but above all else, you've got to keep it clean. So you don't want to get known as that guy, that sends it and then makes mistakes. But if you can keep your car under control, position it legally, and then make up some ground or some positions in the first few corners, well, then have at it. But it's all about confidence. It's all about knowing, the tyres underneath you and what the car is capable of early on in the race when it's full of fuel and on cold tyres.
Yeah, and of course we haven't had a season of completely clean racing. There's been incidents all the way through. There's been dive bombs, not just Ando's, but some other ones as well. But most of them, I think, have been resolved very, very amicably. And this is a testament, Scott, to how the organisers put the regulations together, how it's judged, how it's stewarded at the end of the day. And it's not a small job.
No, it can be quite a large job going through replays to look at incidents that have been reported and trying to judge accordingly. It is probably one of the most thankless jobs out there, being a steward. No one ever comes up to you at the end of a season and says, thanks for your job in the steward's room. Really appreciate that penalty you gave me. I really deserved it. But yeah, without your stewards, it would just be complete chaos out on the track. You'd just have cars getting spun around left, right, and centre, and dive bombs, and it'd just be pure chaos.
Daily racing, basically.
Pretty much daily racing.
Yeah.
Yes, we don't.
But yeah, the stewards are the parking police of the sim racing world, aren't they? But highly intelligent bunch of blokes, I've heard, in this league. The stewards, very well-rounded individuals, and they know what they're doing. So we're full trust in them.
Absolutely, that's the key thing. When the regulations combined with good sportsmanship all the way through the field. We've seen a number of people, during incidents, they go, "Oh, yeah, that was a mistake. I'm going to back out. I'm going to redress this." So the driving etiquette has been second to none. I mean, it is difficult sometimes, especially when the red mist descends, to be the better man, but that's what we see here at TCR Cup. And MotorMotion and MotorMotion in general sees that, as we see Dubzito pick up a 0.5-second penalty. Some spiciness in this lobby too.
Yeah, there is. They're going at it. But yeah, the driver group in TCR this season, absolutely outstanding. It's been a pleasure to drive door to door with them. And yeah, there wasn't that many incidents. The stewards, I think, this season had a fairly easy job. So yeah, that is indicative of the driver behaviour. And you know, the league lays down the rules. They let everyone know what is acceptable and what isn't. And you know, so when you get a season like this where the penalties are few and far between and the incidents are few and far between, that just says that the league's doing something right. You know, the stewarding's working, the driving's clean, and everyone's behaving themselves. And you know, everyone for me personally on track, there was some, you know, very clean driving and sportsmanlike gestures from a lot of the drivers around me this season.
Yeah, it's been clean, clever, and intelligent driving. A true thinking man's season, that is for sure. In chat, we've got MotorMotion Media yet again asking, what was the defining moment of the Drivers' Champion that truly sealed their victory? Well, we will get to those results at some point. We've got someone sitting in the wings waiting for an interview that will begin at some point very, very soon. We also have Jeff Bruin, who is going to join us as well. And since we are talking about general MotorMotion racing etiquette, a man that has been intimately involved at the administration level for many, many, many years, Jeff Bruin, we're going to welcome him into the comms box. Jeff, you want to unmute yourself and get yourself in here. Welcome into the commentary box.
Thanks, George. How are you?
Yeah, doing good, mate. And, you know, we are just talking about MotorMotion in general, and the TCR Cup exemplifying the expectations of the league.
Yeah, a great series. I think kudos to Scott and everybody that's been a part of running this season, season 4. It's been highly successful, and I think, as you've seen in the broadcast that TrackSpot TV have done, some great racing. So well done to all.
Much appreciated. And yes, TrackSpot TV, of course, broadcasting partners with MotorMotion E-Series. Check out both sides, www.motormotioneseries.wordpress.com. Jump on the Facebook, jump on the Discord. It's brand new. It's getting a lot of membership. A lot of people jumping in there, lots of automation, and much easier to find some information too. And also TrackSpot TV, jump onto the website, www.trackspot.tv. If you need broadcasting commentary for your league or anything to do with OBS, multi-streaming, video and animations, we do all of that at TrackSpot TV. And of course, absolute privilege to be still here at MotorMotion E-Series doing our stuff, because we love the racing that is here. I always hear the feedback from my commentators. They just have so much fun watching the teams and the drivers battle it out throughout these seasons. We've had the Carrera Cup this year. We've had the Manufacturer Masters. We've had the TCR Cup. And of course, Jeff, we've got GT3 Championships coming up.
Yes, it is. Pretty excited for this one. Starts on the 30th of September. And it's ramping up to be a fantastic season. Drivers and teams are locked in and set, and there's some car testing going on at the moment, but it's full steam ahead.
Certainly is. In chat, we've got Expat, Joe Radinsky, saying, greetings from the Philippines. Welcome in. So welcome in. That's quite a distance to be watching, and we absolutely love having you in here as we see Faf pick up a 0.5-second penalty. That's equal to Airborne's 0.5-second penalty. So this race, not without its track limits issues, I will admit. And Expat saying he's been in China. He's also got a house in Mindanao. Fantastic, excellent stuff. Motion Media in chat asking, who is the breakout star of the season? A driver who surprised everyone with their pace or consistency. You know, I think I can make this answer on behalf of Nick Pautasso, who is, I hope, now back in the comms box. But I think Lyle Rensburg might be a bit of a standout, or certainly someone that we didn't expect to see with the results that he had. We'll open it up to the entire group. Feel free to make a comment on my comments and suggest.
Lyle didn't win the series, did he?
Hey, but you don't always select the breakout driver as the overall season champion. And bear in mind, we're still redacting the current results.
Come on, you come out of semi-retirement after you make a couple of babies. you've been away from the sport for a couple of years. You come back in and you win a championship. I reckon it's a laid out misère. The standout driver for me was Spanny. He's the rising star.
Well, since we are now talking and revealing results, I think it probably is a good idea for us to jump through into some results. We can't put the cat back in the hat, unfortunately, so let's go for it. We'll come back to our Lobby 2 coverage in a few moments' time. Let's head over to some results. So the overall results of this was actually Campbell Knowles did get up on top, Nick Pfaff in second place, Nick Roberts, Lyle Rensburg, Michael Brill, Chris Fadapapa in sixth place, and seventh it was Tony Griffin, Troy Britnell, Shane Attard, and Matthew Joinson. So let's talk about the final overall standings since Andrew has opened that Pandora's box. We can't close it now, and so he's going to get chewed out a little bit about that. But either way, this is how it ended up being. Ryan Spann was indeed your season victor. He had 529 points at the end, 13 points clear of Nick Pfaff, who, because of the half points in Lobby 1, did get that position away from Scott Taylor, who was almost certainly going to get second should the race have completed in its entirety. Campbell Knowles in fourth, Mark Pacheco for Gridline Racing in fifth, Andrew Scott in sixth position. Here's the bottom, or the rest of the results, I should say. Lyle Rensburg seventh, Michael Brill, Luke Stone, Chris Fadapapa, Matthew Joinson, and Troy Britnell. So at this point, I would like to bring Ryan Spann into the conversation, and we are going to be talking about him a little bit because he is our driver's champion of season 4. He has come out of retirement. He has done incredibly well. Andrew Scott is very, very proud of this man here. So let's get Ryan to unmute and we'll get him in for a little bit of an interview here. Ryan, welcome into the comms box and congratulations from all of us.
Yeah, g'day, George. Thanks for that, mate. Thanks, Ando. And thanks for Scotty for putting on a great series. It was awesome to come into such a great, well thought out series and execute some good moves. It was great. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Well, we will open up to everyone to ask you some questions, but highlights from the season, was there a particular race, a particular round, a particular move that you thought really, this is it?
Anytime I finished in front of Scotty was good. I was happy with that. We were just working together as a team most of the time, and just to be on the podium and getting the fast laps on the track was just good enough for me. Just turn up and do the best and hope for the win.
Excellent. Well, we had a few doubts when we saw Tokyo. I think it was Tokyo Expressway, and you were behind Andrew for a while there, and then Andrew made this just small mistake into the final corner, and you managed to get side by side and finish across the line by about 0.02 of a second. It was I've asked Andrew about this, but planned or accident?
Partly planned and partly accident. He actually did have a technical difficulty coming into the second last corner there, and his wheel played up. But he kind of had the plan that he wasn't going to be here all season, so handing the season points over to me would have been the better move, and that's what we planned for the rest of the season. At least we can get one of the drivers on top and then keep it even fighting for the rest of them.
Fantastic.
Well, come on, the telemetry shows a clear lift out of the last corner down the straight there. I got multi 2-1 from our pit wall.
I haven't seen any telemetry, Andrew. I haven't seen it. You produced the pictures, or it didn't happen, mate.
Well done, Spaddy. Congrats, mate.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's good to have someone like you give us some good tips and work together. We didn't go a night there where we weren't practicing, and doing full race stints, hours and hours of practice in each car and different setups, sending screenshots backwards and forwards. It was pretty full on to say the least, but we got the job done. That's what needed to be done, so it was good. Yep,
great team effort. And surely, Spanny, your favourite moment each round was Monday night Cooke practice night, surely. Come on.
Oh, has to be. Once
the off-screen romance. Hey. Ooh.
Let's work as a team and do the strategy my way, okay?
That's it. Once the kids hit the pillow, mate, we're in the chat, ready to put down some laps and do full race practicing. It was great.
Yeah, there was no doubt denying that did help us throughout the whole. You go into the race fully informed, and you know what's going to work and what's not. So yeah, that really did help. So thanks, Buddy. Appreciate you putting in the effort.
Let's see if Nick's microphone is now working. Nick?
Yes. Hopefully
we've got
that
you
is
back.
all working
Okay.
out.
Yay! I was going to
Apologies,
start
viewers,
a GoFundMe.
for that going on. But yeah, like it's good to have Spanny in the commentary booth. But I feel like one of the key moments I saw from Spanny's race or from Spanny's TCR campaign to get the Drivers' Championship was that race at Bathurst. I feel like obviously he was alone. He didn't have Ando Scott. Double points. Going into that race, and I just felt like, you know, for you, Spanny, you had a complete masterclass in that race. You were just the fastest on the track. Every lap you did, you were on point with your lap consistency. Lap after lap was just so strong. You probably had a couple of moments there where we actually thought, you know, Matthew Johnson, who was driving for Yukon Global, now the renamed Jamco Racing Team, we almost had a kind of doubt where he was throwing us a bit of a weird strategy where if he was going to finish on a set of racing soft tires, he actually would have beaten you that race. But it was very close. But from that race onwards, I always felt like you just had that command. You know, you had that pace, you had the overall consistency. You know, you had your teammate Ando working with you throughout the whole stint. So I feel like, was there any other race that you felt that maybe you just didn't really have that much pace compared to Ando, or were you just kind of sticking to your routine that, you know, if you're behind Ando and Ando knew that you're in a championship contender, you just thought to yourself, all right, the last lap, Ando's going to pull off to the side and he's going to give me the victory?
Yeah, Bathurst was one of those rounds that Ando wasn't available, and we had another guy step in for us, so it was pretty hard there being on my own, not having the chief under my wing, or being under the chief's wing, I should say. But most time during the race, we would be talking to each other, letting each other know how much fuel, what our tyres were doing, how we felt the car was reacting, which tyres were going down first. We just relay that information. I'm having a bad sector, go past, or, you know, most of the time we were pretty even on pace. If not, Ando was quicker, so sometimes he would just, if I was in front, he would hold behind, keep some pace, defend me, or if it was the other way around, I'd be just doing the same for him, just letting him know what's going on, who's coming up behind, how the car's feeling, those sort of things.
Yeah, and when I got to and every time you come into the pit lane, it was always the same, or more or less the same number of percentage of fuel left that you had in the car, whether you had maybe a couple litres more than Ando, or Ando had 5 litres more than you, or vice versa. It was just that it's the fine margins that you two share on the track. Obviously, we both know that you're equally fast, and, you know, having a strong team in the TCR Cup with me, Cooke Drive Development, we always know setting the benchmark in TCR in MotorMotion E-Series. It's just those fine margins that defines, you know, who was going to be out in front of the pit lane, who was going to be behind. Was it at any moment in those stints where Ando would have jumped you, or you would have jumped Ando, that, you know, you would have pulled back a little bit, or he would have pulled back, just to kind of work, just to play that little team game, like where you're kind of like working together to try and reel each other in to help with slipstream or save fuel, just to get one up on those gridline boys?
Basically every race we were doing stuff like that. If one of us got too far ahead, unless we were worried about losing positions from a different strategy, we would definitely slow down to try and get the other person back into the slipstream. And we were saving fuel there pretty good. 2 different gearboxes, one for quali and one for race, to try and save more fuel during the race and then make the most of it during quali. So yeah, we would always be helping each other out and just double checking on each other to make sure that the other person was alright and they were happy with the position on track. Just move forward, go as fast as we can.
Fantastic.
In fact, Spanny, I think
ahead,
we
Ando.
were actually, we were looking at our fuel figures and we were actually swapping the lead in the pit stops a couple of times there, weren't we? By intentionally underfueling or overfueling, just to give the other driver the turn at the lead and to tow the other guy around. So we really super finessed it the whole time round. So, you know, when you got 2 equally matched drivers that are pretty good on pace, it allows you to do that sort of finessing of the strategy, and it worked out a treat.
Yeah, so we're moving into the team territory for absolutely here, because it was a team game at the end of the day, and you guys formed that incredibly well. Let's go back and let's have a little look at our team's finale standings. This is after round 10, of course, so these are the final standings. And guess who? It's a fourth title for me, Cooke Driver Development on 76 points, followed by Gridline Racing on 960 points. Lightning Motorsport takes third position. We'll be hearing from a man who's been heavily involved with Lightning Motorsport for many, many years on 872 points. And third, Team 55 in fourth position, 856 points. Asta Racing on 828 points. Team Capital on 757. And in seventh place, it was Hassel One Motorsports, followed by CP Motorsports, and then Mad Turtle Racing, and 8 points behind CP. Then it's Rusty Nuts Racing, Black Rose Racing, and the brand new Jamco Racing, who replaced Yugen Global this season. So we do now get to say a massive congratulations to me, Cooke Driver Development, Andrew Scott in the number 787 car, and Ryan Spann in the number 119 car. Chaps, me, Cooke, four-time TCR Teams title champions. Andrew, you're the team owner. Ryan, you've done an incredible job to support this team's title this season. But Andrew, let's hear from you first, mate. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, George. Absolute honour, and so chuffed to be the winners again this season. We had to pull out all stops to keep ahead of Gridline Racing. We had a little bit of a setback early in the season when I missed the Bathurst round, so we were playing catch up for a lot of the season, and we really had to work hard to make sure we got it this time. And you know, I'm extremely grateful to Spanny, who did step in Mick Hill's absence, and I hear Mick Hill's going to be back soon, though, isn't he? Is that correct?
Yeah, I think he's bolting together his rig at this point in time. I think he's putting the last nuts and bolts together, and he should be back.
Yeah, so really keen for him to get back in the fray. But yeah, really, really grateful to you for this season, mate. Couldn't have done it without you. And yeah, just chuffed that me, Cooke seems to. So this series format that Scotty picks each time seems to suit us down to the ground. And we make the best of it, you know. So I really enjoy this format. The fact that you've got to think about it, you've got to, you know, strategize a bit rather than just outright, you know, lap after lap, outright pace type driving. It sort of really suits the team, and yeah, we're really, really proud and really grateful to have 4 in a row.
Absolutely. Well, let's bring in Scott Taylor for this. He's got to wear 2 hats tonight because obviously Gridline Racing coming second in the team's title, himself coming third in the driver's title, but also as the admin and man in charge, the organizer. So 2 hats to wear technically tonight, Scott, but you know, we've got a team's title and a driver's champion here in the box. Some words from yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Congratulations to me, Cooke, and to Ando and to Spanny. You guys have had an almost completely flawless season. You know, you guys thoroughly deserve the win, and I think next season it'll be hard tyres only for you guys.
We've got a me Cooke bot on its way for season 5. I love it.
Well, great handicap system, yeah, awesome, yeah.
And no supercomputers.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, but no, but seriously, you guys have been sensational all year. You've been the team to beat, and I knew when you said that you were going to miss the Bathurst round that, you know, Gridline would get in front of you, but it was going to be very hard to stay in front of you guys. So, you know, you guys did well to catch up and get in front, and you thoroughly deserve your victory. So well done, guys.
Of course, bear in mind that there was 4 points difference between Gridline and me, Cooke, going into round 10. But the disconnect in lobby 1, half points, and unfortunately for Gridline, they were further out of position than me, Cooke. A few comments coming in chat as well. Motion Media saying the team's championship came down to the wire. What do you think gave the winning team the edge in consistency over the full season? Andrew, I think this is one for you.
Well, some say, George, that I think one of the me Cooke drivers who will remain nameless had to chuck a sickie just so that he could show up for one of the rounds, and that might have been the clincher there. And you know, and poor old Paco there with his moving house and his equipment dramas too. That was tragic that he missed a round because of that. So it was a bit of a topsy-turvy event, and you know, there was, you know, it could have been either. It was a real coin toss towards the back end of the season who was going to get it. So it was a stressful time, but I really, really wanted that four-peat. So let's say I made it happen one way or the
Absolutely.
other.
Absolutely. We'll hand over to Nick for a few questions for Ryan and for Ando, and for me, Cougar, I guess, in general. I'm sure he's got a lot of stuff he wants to talk about.
Yeah, well, exactly. Obviously,
breath.
four on the trot for you guys. You know, it's absolutely an incredible achievement. Obviously, the category changed from what was driving in front-wheel drive Group 4 machinery versus the road car of the Honda Civic. So obviously it gets to that point where tuning becomes a big factor in this series. Obviously you yourself, Ando, and Spanny and Scotty have been working very hard in the background and getting those practice hours, practice laps in, and really just honing in that perfection. What was the kind of standout? Like, did you guys ever think that you guys would be the front two in this championship? And you would have thought, you probably didn't think that you would have other contenders in this race, or were you actually kind of hoping that the grid was going to be a little bit closer in this season? Because while it was kind of like a two-team dominant season, was there any other teams that kind of surprised you a little bit? Maybe when you were in a race that you thought, oh, okay, like these guys looks like they've done a little bit of their homework, but let's see how the race pans out for them.
Well, I don't know how many questions that was at once there, wasn't it? But yeah, to answer that last question there, was there anyone that stood out to us? Yes and no. Like, you've got your regular fast guys that are going to be fast, anyway. So your Fafs and your Airborns are always going to be up there. Your Luke Stones, but it's just that little bit of an edge that you have over them if you get your tune right that makes life easier for yourself. So I felt like we had that edge at Cougar this season, but hopefully they'll come back to us next season, come back at us and really put up the fight. And, I'm going to lay down the challenge now. I'm going to put it out there. Anyone out there that wants to put a team together and come in for TCR Season 5, let's try and knock Cougar off their pedestal because, let's face it, they need a bit of an ego adjustment. Let's bring them down a peg or two, and the challenge is out there. Like, who can turn up and in a tuning series and a fuel and tire race, who can beat Cougar?
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess in a way, obviously we had that equal. I would say like that equal opportunity when we had the one make Audi TTs in season 1, the Mazda MX3, Mazda 3, TCR car, and then the free range in the season 2. Like, what kind of season? Like, do you feel like season 4, like with the road car tuning aspect, do you feel like that's been a much more how can I say, that's been a much more comfortable drive for you guys? Do you feel like you were really comfy driving that road car spec turned into a race car, or were you kind of looking for that little bit of more performance in the Group 4 machinery?
Yeah, not so much. I mean, we ended up having a really good battle with Gridline this season, whereas in previous seasons we've done pretty well. Mick Hill and I have been out there on our own, I think. So the fact that the tuning came into it, I think, offers an opportunity for people that aren't good at front-wheel drive cars to maybe, come at it, because there's two things at play here, right? There's the front-wheel drive aspect of it. That's what TCR is. It's always going to be a front-wheel drive series. But then this is the first season where tuning's been there. So Gridline really made some moves forward there and took it to Cougar this season. So maybe it's the tuning aspect that makes it a bit more of a level playing field. I don't know. But the thing that remains is that TCR has always been a front-wheel drive series. Cougar, we're specialists at it. And we're just saying to anyone out there who wants to come and have a go, come and knock us off our pedestal. If you think you're good with front-wheel drive cars, come and, have a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Spanny, for his first season, to be thrown into the deep waters of the tuning series, TCR, I'm not so sure about you, Spain, but have you ever been a fan of front-wheel drive racing, TCR, like whether it's on the game in Gran Turismo 7 or in the real world? Like what were the challenges that were brought to you this season to really like make your return to not only to Gran Turismo, but obviously making a statement in MotorMotion E-Series? Like what was the kind of driving factor getting you back into the TCR championship?
To be honest, I've never really driven any front-wheel drive car in real life, or race one online in any series. So it was a bit of a challenge. Andrew just threw it out there and asked if I wanted to come and take over for Mick Hill and see if I can still get the car around the track. A bit of practice, and it was all happening. So no, I don't mind the front wheel drive. The challenges there definitely with putting your foot down too early on the corner exits and try not to smoke them up or push wide. So that was where the tuning come into play. I think was setting the higher gears and short shifting and keeping the car being able to turn on those exits. That was what really helped. But yeah, it's good.
That's good, and for Scotty as well. Like obviously you making this series based around the Group 4 machinery and making it a road car championship. Obviously, what was the process of that? Obviously, we saw the 3 seasons in the Group 4 cars being very successful, especially in Season 2 when you open it up to a lot of manufacturers, and then Season 3 with the Mazda 3 being one of the great seasons in TCR Cup. But what kind of made you drive away from Group 4s and going in this new adventure?
Well, I think there's only a limited amount of Group 4 front-wheel drive cars available in the game. I think there's only about 6 or 7 available, and even I think the Mazda and the Volkswagen Scirocco, I'm not really sure how you pronounce it. They're somewhat OP compared to the other Group 4 cars. So if you eliminate them out of it, then you're only left with 3 or 4 cars. So I think having already done 3 seasons where we were in, Group 4 cars, they'd sort of just run their course a little bit. And the big thing for me is that I don't want this series to get stale after a while, where each season, it's Group 4 front wheel drive, it's the same thing, BOP. I wanted to add that sort of extra dynamic to it, and I'd had a few people say to me that they really missed the tuning side of it from the supercar series that we used to run. They used to,
that series.
They really loved the tuning aspect of that. So I thought, let's try it with TCR. We'll pick a car. I think Ando and I spent probably about a week going over different tracks, trying various power and weight limits to see what would work. We didn't want anything that was like massively overpowered, but then we didn't want something where you go up Mountain Straight at Bathurst and you can feel the revs and see the revs dying off because it was underpowered. So that was how we came up with our 285 horsepower and our 1,115 kilo weight limit, and we found that was just the absolute perfect combination for these cars. And thought, right, let's do it.
Hang on,
see
Scotty.
what happens.
Just a disclaimer: there was no one from Cooke Driver Development involved in the testing for the season, was there?
Oh no, I guess not. No.
Maybe.
But,
I wear multiple hats, don't I, Scotty?
Yeah.
I wear multiple hats.
Yes.
We all do.
Yes.
So this is why you and I, George, are condoned to the commentary booth, because all the testing, all the hours we have to put in to make a car perfect. Why do we need to spend time on track? We can just call it as it is, and we could even have a commentators race one day between you and me. Just have a bit of fun.
I think it's a good idea. We'll
That'd be good. Dude. Yeah, we should stream that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
let's see how many laps Spud wins by.
Yeah, that's right. I was about to say.
How many pit stops do I have to make in a front-wheel drive series?
As long as we measure his race in time and mine in grass cut, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. Okay, I think I'll win that.
Sorry, George. I threw you under the bus there, mate.
Here's the thing, though, Ando. Are you going to give
me a
me?
very good commentator.
Here's the thing, right? Are you going to give me as a limited set of tires? Are you going to give me like an unlimited set, and George is going to be able to swing by? Because the fronts on my D-pad is not going to be
Look,
worth a drive.
Look,
That's for sure.
what we're gonna do, all right? We're gonna put me in a GR010, and you'll be in a Group 4 car, all right? I think it might be quite even. I think it'll be quite a good race. Yeah. Before we get too off topic, big congratulations, obviously, to our team's title winners, me, Cooke, and Ryan Spann, for winning the Drivers' Championship. Congratulations to all our drivers. You've put on an absolute show for us in the commentary box throughout the season. We're going to switch to yet another interview because we have two fellas in here who've become staples at MotorMotion E-Series and have performed really, really nicely throughout the entire series. We're going to bring in Troy Britnell, team owner of Lightning Motorsport, and I believe Team 55 as well. And one of his drivers, Campbell Knowles, is going to be joining us. So, chaps, if you could unmute, and we'll bring you in for a little bit of a chat. Welcome in, Troy.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Great to have you in here, mate. So you've been listening in. You've been seeing the results and all that good stuff. Give us your take, mate. You've had a great season as well.
Oh, mate, this whole season's been a bit of enlightening for me as a team owner, driver previously with obviously Lightning Motorsports. I wasn't going to race this season at all, and was stepping out of it. Brought some drivers in and ended up that, yeah, they didn't really have a lot of tuning knowledge, so went out on my own and did some tuning and went, you know what, this car's actually fun. So decided to put a second team together, and thank Campbell Knowles for joining me in that, and put Team 55 together as our secondary team, and as a foursome with Michael Brill and Chris Papa. It was great to have the four drivers just working together. And be able to help each other out and work out tunes.
Yeah,
I also did a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, your four drivers. So Team 55 was Campbell Knowles and yourself. That's 4th place in the Drivers' Championship for Campbell Knowles, 12th place for yourself, Troy. And then in Lightning Motorsport, it was Chris Faripapa and Michael Brill, finishing 8th for Michael Brill. And Chris Farapapa in P10. Of course, we saw Michael Brill in the Manufacturer Masters in the Group 4 cars. He did a fantastic job there. So I'm sure you're happy with all the performances of everyone in the team. I mean, 2 teams, that's a nice place to finish, especially when you're finishing 3rd and 4th in the team's title as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just to have everyone on the same page. Yeah, as I said, we had no tuning knowledge, any of us really. So, yeah, like, kind of employed some old supercar tuners from the MotorMotion from a few years ago and got them on board for the first couple of weeks. But as drivers, we like our own tunes as well. So we ended up going away from what they were doing for us and kept working on it ourselves. And it was good. We all learned a lot, I think.
Absolutely. So what was, give us some season highlights for yourself and your drivers. What were the key things, the key moments as a TO that you saw that went, yes, this is exciting. I'm happy to be here for this season.
Oh, the hardest thing is you're not getting to watching the replays with you guys is incredible. So that's always the best bit of the weekend, really, just sitting there having a watch and seeing what happened in the other lobby, especially with 2 teams and not being actually knowing what's going on with my other team, only from race notes and catch-ups after a race and things like that. So just so happy with like Michael Brill and Chris, what they did for me in those drives, like unknown really for them to be able to step up and do the job they did. Campbell's stalwart of our league, so having him with me and helping me out, he's just a fuel Nazi really, just fuel saves like nothing else. I just can't believe some of the laps he does and how long he goes without filling that car up.
That's been a topic of conversation in the commentary box as well. We'll bring Campbell Knowles in because we're talking about you directly now. We often see you out there on a tyre that is red with no fuel, lapping and lapping and lapping. We absolutely loved it, mate. Thank you for entertaining us so much. And honestly, it's worked out more often than not.
Yeah, no, it's been an interesting one, going against the grain compared to everyone else. Certainly I knew on track maybe the speed wasn't necessarily there and probably having to resort more strategy side of things just to kind of jump everyone. I think there was generally one race where I finished third place or something, and I didn't make a single pass on track. Every single pass was in the pit lane. So I think there was some point where I was kind of like, do I keep going with this, or do I try and resort to some pure speed? But I think in the end it kind of managed to work itself out.
Certainly did, and yeah, you've had some great results. We'll hand it to Nick Pautasso to ask some questions to yourself, Campbell, and Troy, and yeah, we'll go around the room a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, obviously great to hear your voices, Troy and Campbell. Great to have you guys in the comm booth. I'll start off with Troy. Obviously, you know, you've been a staple of MotorMotion since the inception of MotorMotion E-Series. It gets to that point where, you know, you're pretty much a humble a figure name here at MotorMotions, but obviously with your team, Lightning Motorsports, being, you know, ever so consistent in showing up in the attendance and putting up some solid performances and, you know, just getting some great results overall for your team. It came to that point when it got to seeing that Team 55 on board and, you know, getting yourself that sister team, and 55 for you and Campbell Knowles. Obviously, you gave the keys to two brand new drivers that obviously for myself I hadn't really known much about, in Chris Fatapapa and Michael Brill. Obviously being that main team in the MotorMotion E-Series, was that a bit of a risky move for you, like to actually bring in some unfamiliar names to actually pilot the main team in Lightning Motorsports, and then you kind of feeding back on the Team 55 sister team, or were you guys really working hard together to, you know, collect the data, have some fun, and also try to bring some results for each camp?
Yeah, at the start it was. It was one of the hardest things to do. It was like, oh, what do I do here? And then I ended up going with what I did. Like as I said, Campbell, unbelievable driving. And knowing that these guys were probably going to be better than myself at this type of thing, so I thought I'll put myself back into the sister team. But it just turned out that Campbell had it nailed, so it worked out that we were able to put everyone, and then putting all our results and all our heads together, it worked out that our combined knowledge between all of us worked out best of both worlds, really. Like being able to be up there and challenge me, Cooke and Gridline on some of these races, they were just exceptional out the front. So congratulations to them, and with us just being that little step behind, it can only lead to better performances in their future for a Lightning and Team 55 if we bring the sister team out again. Like, who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. And for Campbell as well, like obviously watching your whole races, commentating throughout the whole series, you know, first of all, it's great to have you back in MotorMotion E-Series, and great to be able to share the track with you in our other series as well. But, you know, obviously for yourself, you kind of went a few different directions when it comes to the strategy. We always noticed a few times in your events that, you know, you're trying to go for that different strategy compared to everyone else. You're going for that longer pit stop. You're going for that longer time on track, starting on the hardest compound of tires compared to everyone else running on a, you know, potentially a soft tire or a medium tire. And we saw the difference in pace that you guys had, like in that opening stint. Was that the kind of plan that you guys were looking for? Or were you just trying to go for that different alternate strategy, or were you just kind of looking at the fact that, you know, just be different, let's try something, and hopefully it works out? Because a couple of times it did, but it kind of, at that first stint, it just kind of looked like it wasn't the right optimum strategy. So what was the thought process going through those races where you did that strategy?
It was a little bit of knowing what my own personal strengths are. I'm probably one of the very few drivers around that actually right foot brakes. I don't left foot brake, so I spend a lot more time off throttle compared to everyone else, so I'm naturally able to save a little bit more fuel. So there was a little bit of, if I'm naturally able to do that, can I extend that and make that a little bit of an advantage over some other people, which is kind of why I went a bit longer in some series. And then it was actually the first race of the season, I think we did a 2-stop, but I had to kind of teach myself how to save the tyres a little bit, because I'm typically quite an aggressive driver and will use up the tyres quite quickly. So I had to actually kind of take a step back and go, okay, if I'm going to go longer, I need the tyres to kind of last a bit longer. And so I adjusted my driving style a little bit to match that, but yeah, it was mainly taking into account the right foot braking and thinking how can I use this in advantage. That kind of gave birth to the idea of, hey, why don't turn every race into a one stop?
Yeah, that's very fascinating. Obviously, Ando was kind of like chatting in the background there, thinking about the right foot braking. Is that obviously when you are on a simulator, Ando, we'll throw it to you, like just for a general question. Like obviously, the main idea is to left foot brake because it just feels natural on a sim. But when we actually get into a road car, we're actually right foot braking. So, what do you feel is that difference? Is it just more the feel, the sensation that you get when it comes to racing in a simulator compared to a road car, or is it just more the fact like it's just muscle memory that you just left foot brake in a sim and then you right foot in the car?
It's more about what you're used to, I think, what your muscle memory is. So, yeah, sorry, Campbell, I was just having a go at you there because I'm also a right foot braker. So, it's not ideal when you're in a race car situation, but if it's all you've ever known, and I've been driving cars for 40 years, guys, I don't know if you realize how old I actually am, but
60.
I've been driving cars for 40 years. So, and it's only later in life that I've started doing track days and getting into sim racing seriously and getting some good gear for sim racing. So right foot braking, that's how I'm wired. So I can't switch to left foot braking. I just can't. And I've tried and it just doesn't work for me. So it's effectively a lift and coast into every corner. So like what Campbell was saying is correct. It does lend itself towards that one stopper or to that fuel saving strategy because I'm effectively lift and coasting into every corner compared to you guys that left foot brake. So it's something that probably could be learned, but it'd be for me at this late stage in my life, it'd be very hard to switch. It'd be like switching my golf swing from left-handed to right-handed or something. I think it would be really, really hard to do.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's actually an interesting thing to hear about. Obviously, I feel like if I were to ever jump on a simulator, just that process of just having that left foot braking just be the most aggressive strategy. But I guess in a way, that does kind of help. That doesn't really help with much of the tire wear scenery as well. But beyond that, I just want to go back to Troy. Take me back to the Nürburgring. Your team, Lightning Motorsport and Team 55, had some great results there. I actually jumped into one of your practice lobbies before the event itself, running alongside Campbell Knowles, Michael, and Chris before the race. I was just jumping in there just for a bit of fun, but the pace that you guys showed in that race, in that event, was actually really strong. And obviously, Lightning Motorsport for Michael Brill getting that one up over gridline racing. So take me back to like what was it like down in camp? What was the preparation for that race? How did the boys in Lightning and Team 55 feel going into that event? Obviously, were you guys a little bit nervous, thinking that it's just going to be a me Cooke gridline 1, 2, 3, 4, or did you guys have a little bit more of a plan, like a little bit more of a comfy zone? Because from what I saw in that practice lobby, you guys looked like you had really good pace.
Yeah, the guys that week put in some incredible hours on their practice, actually. So they were doing a lot of practice, trying to get everything right. They tried their very best to be able to keep up with the fast guys, and everyone was very keen. Unfortunately for myself, that was probably my worst week ever at my real job. So I wasn't able to do much practice at all. So I was really relying on them to put something together for the whole team. And what they come up with was incredible, really. So I was, endeavouring them to be my guidance for that race. So they were so good, and the amount of hours they put in for that race was just unbelievable.
Yeah, and for Campbell as well, how did you see those guys? Obviously, when you saw Michael getting that podium for Lightning Motorsport, did you kind of feel like he had that potential to get himself onto the podium after that, after the practice that you've been doing throughout the week?
Yeah, I think for him, there was always that potential to just kind of put everything together and get up to the pointy end. I think there was a few races between the two of them that they kind of showed it, but maybe one or two things didn't necessarily go their way, or the strategy kind of didn't lend themselves exactly kind of what they were looking for. And they kind of slipped down the order a fair bit. But I think for that race, they just whatever naturally happened, just kind of everything came together and provided for a good result. I wish I could say the same thing, but unfortunately I had a nice little game freezing issue, which meant I couldn't even take part in the race, so that wasn't the most enjoyable experience, having probably put the most hours into that race and not being able to race, and then the last race of the season having like 30 minutes and coming out on first, so it was a little bit of a mixed bag in that regard. But yeah, it was good having them as kind of additional drivers to feed back information on, and certainly with the tuning aspect. I mean, I come from a football background, so I have absolutely zero knowledge in cars whatsoever. My motto is just turn up and drive the thing. So having people to bounce ideas off and kind of work together towards sort of help me towards the back end, which I tend to naturally kind of do as I get used to the cars and the track combos, and I naturally get stronger towards the end of the season. But for them, yeah, it was great having them on board and able to bounce ideas and work together.
That's fantastic.
I got a question for Campbell, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
just
Campbell, I'd just taking the opportunity to pick the brains of one of my main competitors, mate. You've naturally, you've got natural pace. That's obvious. You're one of the faster drivers in the league and in other areas where I race against you. I'm just curious with this season and this series. You know, there were times where you chose that alternate strategy, that where you go long on hards or something like that. Like, was there something just nagging at you in the back of your mind that made you say, "Oh, I think I'll choose that strategy," or were you leaning towards it each race anyway, or was it just like a born out of practice and you researched it and you nutted out that was the better way to go? Like, how did you decide each round whether you were going to do the one stopper or not?
For me, I've noticed I tend to be more of like a rhythm driver. If I can get into the rhythm and get into the flow and start putting consistent laps together, I can naturally just kind of keep creeping forward. For me, when I'm having to do a lot of stop-start, so going pretty much foot down to the floor, going as fast as I can, that's kind of where the mistakes come out of it, because I'm naturally quite aggressive in the way that I drive. I'm sure there's been a few people that I've raced up against that have seen that side of things, leaving pretty much the minimum amount of room possible, but still, within the legal limits, of course. So being able to do that in a short period, I found tended to naturally make a lot of mistakes, but if I kind of pulled myself back, forced myself to go a bit longer, I could naturally get into a rhythm, and then lap after lap, I would be able to put in a solid amount of times, because I think the Catalonia race, the last race of the season, for 9 to 10 laps, I think I was in 1 to 2 tenths of my time, knowing that I had to kind of naturally keep it going for a bit longer, so I got into the rhythm and things just flowed after that. There was a couple of races where I tried, I think the first race of the season was kind of a little bit of a setup thing where we weren't able to go that long, so I had to kind of bring it back and then kind of go for the 2-stop, which, as you know, if you're slowing it down and doing an extra stop, doesn't necessarily work too well. So actually, if I was going to slow down, I had to add and take out a stop and kind of just do the 1 stop to kind of get anywhere near the front end.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing here is that you do think things through. So you're actually really thinking about strategy into every round, and you're managing risk, that risk of a mistake or something. You're trying to minimize that risk. Is that fair enough to say?
Yeah, it's naturally how I've always approached decision making in anything. Like, as I said, I come from a football background, so for me, the way I've always approached that has kind of flowed into other things. It's just, yeah, I know generally not going to win races by always being the fastest. Sometimes you just have to be the guy that makes the least mistakes, and for me, I know naturally 1 lap pace, probably not the fastest going around, but I know if I make less mistakes and just keep going at it, generally going to push myself closer to the top end. So that was kind of the reasoning behind it. There were certainly some races where I could feel as though a 1 stop probably didn't work as well, but then I was kind of like, it's gotten me so far, I may as well trust it, and I just kind of adapted and started building tunes around that. So I started tuning for the the one-stop long distance, which meant I couldn't naturally just switch up in mid-race and decide, you know what, I'm going to go for the two-stop, because I knew doing that my car would be naturally slower, and the saving would only really be in the fuel, which isn't going to get me too much closer to the pointy
Yeah,
end.
yeah, that's a really interesting insight into your mindset. Like it's slightly different to mine, but still completely valid, and I totally respect that. Like what you're trying to do there, but it just shows, George, that there's different ways to skin a cat, isn't there? It shows that there's different ways to approach this series, and there's different ways to get to that checkered flag sooner rather than later.
Exactly. And I think, when you bring in tuning to a series, when you add in all these factors of fuel and tires and the different circuits, the people who succeed are the ones that craft the strategy around their racing styles. And I think that's evident in what, Campbell, you're saying to us there about your strategy and how you execute. You built success from understanding your own style of driving, how you wanted to drive out there, and you built your strategy and your setup around that. And likewise did most of the teams did do that. And I think that's probably one of the big advantages of a series like this, when you do include tuning in it, is you get that extra added ability, Andrew, to craft that full, complete race picture around how you want to drive and how you succeed.
Yeah, well, it just opens up opportunity to get an edge over your opponents if you think the thing out to its full extent and eke every little theoretical advantage out of it that you can. So, it's like outsmarting someone. You might not be athletically or physically able to overcome them, but if you can outthink them, then it's a victory. So. At my ripe old age, I really enjoy that aspect of some of the series I enter.
Yep, look, TCR is a cerebral series. It's the truly cerebral racing cup. Is what we're gonna have to rebrand it to. And it's been fantastic to watch everyone perform in this series. So, Campbell, question from me to you here. This is for Nick Pautasso's sake. Your nickname, AIRBRN, Airborne or Airburn, as Nick likes to say.
I knew something like that was going to come up.
It's definitely airborne.
Yes.
Oh,
Well, that begs the question, mate. That begs the question.
but there's no O. Where's the
does
O
it come
coming from? That's why I say airborne, because there's no O in that writing.
I believe it comes from honorably airborne.
Yeah, so back in the old Xbox days, you had a limit on characters in a gamer tag, because that's originally where I've come from. I was always a Xbox player online growing up. So the honorably airborne, spelling it that way, gave me the 15 max characters, and so I had to then shorten it and cut out the honorably and just put in the airborne, and it just kind of stuck the way it has.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm still going to debate that it's airburn, because there's no O, George. There's no O in there.
Well, when do you burn air? I mean, anyway, okay. Look, before we get
dragged into
or
something,
argument about semantics here in the commentary box. Fantastic. Let's open this up to everyone in the group. So we'll just have some conversations at this point. We know what the season finale is. We know what the final standings are. We know who the winners are. So we're going to be starting to move towards rounding out the stream. But I think we've got 3 team owners in the chat right now. I'd love to hear from each of you guys. Your favorite round, your favorite race. I'm not going to throw you under the bus and ask you to give us your favorite driver, but definitely some key moments from each of you. Maybe we'll start off with Scott Taylor.
I think favourite round for me would probably have to be round 7 at Dragon Trail in the rain.
That was good. That was spicy.
And I'm just looking at the results here, so I know I get these.
He's flexing. He's flexing, George.
Yeah, sorry. I always get Airborne and Luke Stone mixed up, so I'm just making sure that I'm looking at the right one. Airborne. Yeah, I mean for my teammate Mark to have that spin on lap 3 or 4, I think it was, heading into the quadrant, and then for me to almost do the exact same thing on the very next lap. For Mark to come back the way he did to finish, side by side across the finish line was an incredible drive for him. And the battle that Campbell and I had in the wet when it started raining and we made that, that first pit stop onto the wets, like that was probably one of the best races I've ever had against you there, Campbell. Like that was incredible, like nose to tail. I am sorry for almost pit maneuvering you. I didn't.
Oh
mean
yeah, I
to
was
do
going to
that.
say that, Scotty. I was going to say that on the back straight there was a moment there between you
that
and
was-
Campbell.
That was completely
I remember that.
unintentional.
This one.
I completely forgot about that little dog leg in the back straight there.
Oh yeah, conveniently. Yeah.
Yes. So, and then to go around you, I certainly wasn't expecting to get past you where I did. Just as we were sort of exiting the quadrant there around the outside, that was completely unexpected. But yeah, for me, I reckon that would have to have been my
Bloody
highlight
VR
of the
drivers.
season. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, round 7 for me was my highlight.
Yeah, that was a fantastic round. I was very excited when I knew there was going to be rain there. Let's head to Andrew Scott, me Cougar. What was the race highlight there for the season?
Well, I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm going to mention a low light. Lap 41 at Dragon Trail there on a drying track. The rain had just finished. We'd all just pitted for softs. Me Cougar's looking good. Where we're going to take out the 1-2 no problem. I'm in the lead, comfortably ahead of Spanny. We've got a driver in between us, and Spanny decides in the last sector to go off, collects a bit of sausage. I think he did. Spanny, is that what happened? Like you just had an off, and I'm out there in front going through the last corner. Decided to have a look in my rear vision mirror.
I think I was on the sausage. I was straddling the sausage, and you got a bit jealous, and you just looked back, and you got overwhelmed and took it off the track.
Exactly, yeah. and I just, while I was looking back, like, why would you look back when you're going through the last corner of Dragon Trail Reverse on a drying track where you've got to make sure you stay in the dry line? I've had a look back, and I've dipped my outside tire into the wet patch. I got. What do you call it? I got burnt by the wet patch, yeah. And off I go into the grass, into the barrier, collect damage. So we both bloody ended up in the in the gloop. Yeah, not good.
Oh dear. Yeah.
I think it
And he
was,
managed to salvage it, and he
water
still
blasting.
got the win.
I think it was
Yeah,
Dubzetto as well. Also went off trying to avoid you two going off. I think he got.
Well, I think
Dubzetto
Yeah,
got caught up in it as well.
Binned it nearly,
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
Scotty, watching
was
Nando.
Yeah. So it was all, if it wasn't for that, he would have won easily. Yeah, because Spanny came back and won that race, which was quite admirable after he's off. But all three of us just had a synchronized swimming event. Yeah,
That's
on the
fantastic.
drying track. Yeah.
Let us know, chat, if you've got any particular moments that you remember, recall that you'd like us to talk about. Troy, let's go to you, mate. Highlighted race, favorite moment.
Oh, let's just say my favourite moment probably came on round 2, actually at Tokyo, but it was actually in the pre-race lobby when I had a special tune that I put together that absolutely chewed fuel, but it was quick. And I decided to go and just scare everyone and ran the fastest lap that anyone had been doing in the practice lobby before the race started. And the word was in the chat afterwards that everyone went, where the hell has he just found all this pace from? But yeah, it was a little sneaky tune that I had set up. But in terms of my favourite one for me, it was probably Road Atlanta. It's one of my favourite tracks, and I just had a ball racing it. I can't even remember the results, to be honest, but I just had a ball racing around that track, and there was a couple of times where I just knew I had pace on other people because I liked the track. So to me, that was my favourite spot on track.
Absolutely, yeah. It was round 5 for you guys. It was 6th place and 9th overall. It was that was a solid race, but you were in there with Gridline and me Cougar as well, and Lyle was doing his thing as well. Fantastic.
I think Campbell tried the one stop there, which ended up not being optimal, unfortunately.
Yes, indeed. Fantastic. Well, let's talk a little bit about some other key things. Which we're on the last lap of the replays. We'll keep this up as Campbell. We're about to congratulate you for what appears at the moment to be a Lobby 2 victory in round 10 at Catalunya. It's been a solid race so far, and they've got a decent lead over Nick Pfaff. That early early jump was quite key there for you, it looks like, on Nick Pfaff, and you've managed these mediums very, very well to the end.
Yeah, it was a bit of an interesting race because I'd had, like I said, I only had like 30 minutes to practice for the entire thing. I had no idea, strategy-wise, what I was going to do, and I was quickly, even towards the last sort of lead up into the practice lobby, I was sitting there as we were going through the roll call, actually changing my tune and not actually getting to test it before the race. And then, yeah, I managed, through the first part of the stint, on the hards, I managed to stick quite close to Nick Pfaff, and we kind of had a bit of a back and forth, and then I came to the pits and had saved a bit more fuel than him, so managed to jump him, and then from there I just kind of drove off into the sunset kind of thing. Had a few penalties, but nothing too major. Half seconds around here kind of didn't really affect you too much because of the way the kind of the burn zone worked. But no, it was a good solid race and a good battles. I think Nick and I managed to get into the back of each other at one point and go past, and we got our revenge on each other. But yeah, no, it was a good final end to the season.
Absolutely. So we now look forward to what's coming up, and a big thanks, of course, to Scott for being the season organizer for TCR Cup. Big thanks to Mercury Walch, of course. We'll talk more about them shortly. I want to open it up to everyone to comment a little bit. Feel free to take turns. Feel free to talk over each other. But how do we feel about the car? Do we love it? Do we hate it? What do we hope for next season?
I reckon more of the same. If Scotty can come up with another car choice like that one, I think it's a great formula. So I think the potential is great for this series. Hopefully we can continue with 2 full lobbies each round, and if Scotty can pull a rabbit out of his hat and come up with something that's going to be just as good as this season, then it's only going to get better.
Yes, I do have some ideas already for next season, which I'll keep under my hat for the moment, but there could be a bit of a shake-up happening, so we'll see what happens.
What are you thinking, Scotty? Do you think the
Don't tell
FF format?
Sorry?
Don't tell Andrew, he'll blow it.
Yeah, he
What-
blew
what-
the
what
results
are the-
earlier on in the stream, so
I
yeah, he'll blow this one.
Oh God, I'm gonna happen, aren't I? Jeez.
Good thing he doesn't know anything then yet.
What are the non-negotiables, Scotty? Is TCR always going to be a front-wheel drive series? Here's the scoop, folks. Is it
Yes.
always going to be a front-wheel drive series?
TCR will always be front wheel.
Always
Wow.
petrol.
Okay. All right. So yeah,
Ryan,
is it
yeah,
always?
petrol, yeah.
Is
Unless
it
they put an
always
electric
going to
front
be
wheel.
dinosaur powered? Is it always going to be fossil fueled?
Well, for Flintstones season.
I was gonna say there's a potential of the one of the new Hyundais that's come into the game on GT7. I thought maybe potentially that could be a spicy one. But obviously, if we get a few other manufacturers involved, I'm sure Scotty and the team will work very hard over the off season to hopefully we can get a couple more manufacturers, kind of bringing in like that season 2 that we opened up to all manufacturers, and that brought out some really some great racing as well. Like we had the Suzuki Swift, the Scirocco, we had the Audi, the Peugeot. Like that was a really fun race, and it kind of brought out the advantages and disadvantages of each manufacturer. So if we have that potential season in season 5, obviously five seasons of TCR Cup racing, bring it back a little bit, and hopefully we might be able to get a bit more attendance in that one for some short, fast racing.
Well, TCR's been one make for the last season or two, hasn't it? So multi-make, possibly. Scotty, can you give us any ideas?
We'll definitely have to look at a multi-make, because one makes do get a bit boring and repetitive after a while. But it's a fine line to walk, because if you introduce tuning with a multi-make, then there's always going to be a standout car.
Yeah, of course.
But then if you run it under BOP, then people are going to complain that under BOP this car isn't as quick as this car. Some people were complaining back in season 2 when we had the the multi-make that the Suzuki Swift wasn't as competitive as the Scirocco. But
Yeah, Yeta won the
Dan
championship.
Wood from CP Motorsports won the championship in the Swift. So,
Yeah, and then you got the old chestnut with the BOP with tuning allowed. Then you can't save your tunes.
No, you've got to
So
put it in
that's
every
a real PIA,
every
isn't it?
time,
That one.
which gets annoying
got-
after a while. And it depends, between this season and next season, what other cars are they going to add as well? Like,
We've got a whole year to find out. We could get all sorts. We could get some new Group 4 cars, which would be fantastic. We've got a couple of comments in chat as well. Kiwi Gunners jumping in saying, well done, mate. And GTL window tinting, Gavin, saying, one make medley, do a different make each round. Lol. That's an interesting comment. Kiwi Gunners also saying, we loved that series. Keep it going, boys, from Fada Papa. Cheers, mate. I appreciate that. And Chris Fada Papa, of course, being a man that we've talked a lot about this season. He's actually on your screen right now in second place as we watch back the Lobby 1 replay, I believe, from Tokyo.
I think it was more for his surname, about us in the commentaries, but just trying to get that surname right.
Don't worry, Chris. I taught them how to pronounce Māori words properly. I hope I've done it correctly. Expat is asking, TCR is always Tuesdays. MotorMotion Racing is always Tuesdays, I believe, and I don't think we've had a change for that for a while. Jeff, you might be able to speak to that, but I think it's always been Tuesdays.
Yep, Tuesdays is the night for MotorMotion to run its series, essentially with broadcasting happening on the weekend, as we've seen with the series throughout the year.
Absolutely right. I was actually going to mention, just before I cut in, before I interrupt you, George, is there a potential that maybe MotorMotion itself, obviously running as a staple series on a Tuesday night, was there actually potential to down the line in the future to actually open up to another day of racing? Obviously, the Sunday is the most competitive night of racing around Australia and Oceania, but would that be a talk in the future for you guys if it actually grows the way that it is growing here at MotorMotion?
I don't know. I thought Scott might have jumped in then. We haven't really discussed it too much. We have had preliminary discussions around different formats. And I know that we were potentially looking at running an endurance series. I think it was on a Friday night. Scott was looking at doing, but we didn't get, as much iron for that to make that viable at this time. And as you've said, Sundays is really busy, and everyone else has other things they do on the weekend. So at the moment, not anything concrete or moving forward with than doing it on Tuesday nights at the moment.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. It's a competitive industry out there for different leagues. So we will see. But speaking of which, let's look forward a little bit. And Jeff, since we've got you talking already, let's keep you talking. Give us some hints, mate. So we've got Xpac's been asking in chat if we can do sort of a little something around the GD3 champs. Before we get to you though, we'll go around the drivers. Airborne, you're going to be competing in the GT3 championships, mate?
I will be making a return, yes.
Excellent. We're looking forward to that. Andrew, you're going to be driving?
Yes, I won't tell you which team, but I'll be in a Beamer. That's
okay.
That's all I can say.
Very good. I know that Jeff is going to be driving. I know who he's going to be driving for, but I'll see if they want to say that. Scott, I'm assuming you'll be driving?
Yes, I'm definitely in it for this season.
Excellent. Ryan?
Yes, I've got my little turtle shell on, and I'll be in a McLaren.
Oh yes. All right. I am officially your fan already, and sounds like Mad Turtle going to be the guys that I'm going for. I'm a bit of a McLaren fan, as you might have just been able to tell. Troy, will you be back for racing in GT3?
Yes, I'll be back, and Lightning Motorsport will be back.
Excellent. We're looking forward to that. And will Team 55 be returning as well? Both teams, Lightning and Team 55?
Team 55 won't be running this year in the GD3, but you never know what happens later on.
Excellent. A comment in chat from Kiwi Gunner saying that his actual nickname in his car club is Beige Stig. Very good. Love that. Brilliant. All right, well, we're looking forward to GT3 Champs, Jeff. We know that you're racing in that as well. Tell us a little bit about it. Get us hyped up for it because it's going to be a great season.
You're right. I'm pretty excited as the series organizer to get this one underway. There's been a lot of planning in the background whilst TCR has been winding up, and just to get some hype going. We had a fantastic response to our driver registration and got 2 full lobbies very, very quickly, to the point that some people have actually missed out because it's locked to 2 lobbies only with the 4 divisions. Again, real tracks and real life weather returns. We'll be racing on iconic global circuits with dynamic weather conditions based on the real world forecasts that should add a immersive layer to every round. We've got the same intensity for our authentic driver experience for GT3 with heavy damage, heavy refuel rates, ×3 tyre wear and ×3 fuel consumption, to bring strategy into each round. That goes for 50 minutes. The largest manufacturer selection that we've actually had in GT3. Where in the past seasons we've tried to align it with the World Challenge GT3 car lineup. Sort of GT7 doesn't give us the ability to have the exact cars that they have in that challenge. So essentially I decided to open it up to any GT3 car that is available, and basically every team has picked their first choice car and has gotten it for this series. Also, 4 championships will have Elite, Pro Am and Am, so that the drivers in each division will be racing against similarly paced drivers. So that will be very good for participation, racecraft, as well as viewing on the TrackSpot TV broadcast. As Troy spoke about before, only 8 teams have a level 1 RCA in MotorMotion, so those are basically the top 8 teams in MotorMotion, and we've had 7 return with a new team in Mad Turtle Racing come on board, so we're really excited to see what that green livery looks like. And it's a BOP series, and whilst everyone's had fun with tuning in the TCR Cup, we're going back to just having BOP with brake biased, but we also have a cost cap in play, so teams can't be stacked. And our MotorMotion competitive ranking for the participants in this series will get 2 times weight applied to that rating after every round. So yeah, first round on the 30th of September. Super excited.
It sounds super exciting, and I love the idea of the cost cap. I love the idea of letting all the teams choose whatever GT3 car that they want to drive. That's fantastic, and my hat's off even more for Mad Turtle for choosing the McLaren. It's become more competitive in recent batches. Let's just put it that way. It used to not be the choice that everyone would go for, but I'm glad to see a McLaren on the grid, and that sounds like we're going to have a lot of fun. So broadcast, of course, will start that same week of the 30th of September, so that'll be the early in October. So make sure you're tuned in. Make sure you're subscribed to the MotorMotion E-Series YouTube channel and the TrackSpot TV YouTube, and it won't be the Twitch initially because we'll be going back to a delayed broadcasting format, but we might do a live finale or something. We'll see what we can organize with Jeff Bruin. If we get some spaces in the grid, maybe we can do a live finale, and we'll certainly be coming back to this interview and highlights format. Haven't done as much of the highlights here today, unfortunately for you, but we were all having such good conversation. I didn't want to interrupt it all the way through. Gentlemen, I think that pretty much covers it. So unless we've got anyone that wants to make any further comments and thanks that want to go around the room, feel free to chime in now. Put your hand up.
Thank you to you, George, for your efforts each week, putting all this broadcast together for us. I think our commentary is what really makes a league, and without you, we probably wouldn't have the interest in the league as what we do have. So, and I know that people love watching themselves on the stream, and the ones who suffer the commentator's curse probably not so much, but end of the day, these streams are brilliant, the graphics are brilliant, your guys' inputs are brilliant, and we really love the work that you put in, and we can't really thank you enough for it.
I second that.
Much.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thank you guys, I really appreciate it. Honestly, it is a pleasure. You guys put on such good racing. You can't keep me away at this point. And I think I can say the same for Nick and for Ando and Isaac and Trev and John, who have been in previous broadcasts as well. We hope to bring some of them back in for the GT3 Championships, of course. So it'll be great to bring the viewing experience. We'll see. We'll do up a new overlay. Jeff and I will work together and get something that works nicely for the GT3 Championships and does it justice. So also want to say a massive shout out and thanks to Jeff and Scott and Dylan, who do so much hard work in the background. Thanks to everyone who's doing the stewarding and helping in the pre-race testing. At the end of the day, from I'm sure all the drivers, TOs here in the commentary box and broadcasting suite as well. Scott, you put on a fantastic season of TCR Cup. Seems to be unanimously considered the best so far. And so take a bow, sir.
It's one of our favourite series to commentate on as well. Like, obviously, we've been doing it for 4 seasons. Obviously, myself and Ando, like, being the 3-man team before TrackSpot, before TrackSpot became a thing for yourself, George. So it's always been a lot of fun when it comes to this type of racing. You know, short, fast racing. You know, you can definitely make some, you know, overtakes in these cars, run side by side through a lot of corners, and it's been an absolute joy to be able to commentate season 4, the different style of racing, the different cars that we've been able to run and see the tuning side of things. It's been absolutely incredible. I feel like it really has been that staple for the 3 of us as well. And I think for you and myself, where we actually debuted for the first time racing, commentating in the TCR Cup. So it's been an absolute privilege to work alongside you, and obviously having Ando away from the pit lane and into the co-commentator booth has been, you know, an insightful, you know, past 10 rounds to be with you guys, and obviously yourself, George, putting all hard work and recruiting us every week to try and get us on board and ready for the streaming and the commentary, and, you know, making us, you know, be ready for the briefing, and then getting ourselves into the stream as well. All that hard work goes to you, good sir, and I really enjoyed it this year, and I can't wait to hopefully be back for the GT3 Championship.
Fantastic, thank you so much. Any final words from Ryan Spann, Troy, Airborne, Andrew?
I'd just like to thank guys. Yeah, again, our admin staff has been incredible. One guy who hasn't turned up today, which I think is a bit slack, is Dylan Scarborough, but I think he's got pretty good reason, and congratulations to him with his new baby.
Absolutely, we all second that as well. We hope the young one is doing well, Dylan. I'm sure you'll be watching at some point. Ryan or Airborne, before we jump off, any comments from yourself before we throw it to Andrew?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks to Scotty and everyone in the admin team, yourself, George, and Jeff, putting on a great season. It's been one to remember, that's for sure. Good job. I'll be back again next season.
Looking forward to it. One last chance for Airborne. Any final comments, mate?
Oh, I just want to echo what everyone else is saying and put a huge thanks to everyone for organising everything. It's definitely, it makes it enjoyable when you know you can turn up every night. Everything's pretty much running smoothly because of all the hard work that goes in behind the scenes. That makes the enjoying a lot, the racing a lot less stressful. And yeah, just be able to turn up and have some fun, which is great.
Excellent. Andrew, some final comments on the season. You are the 4-time team's title champion of TCR, alongside your brand new out-of-retirement driver who is the Drivers' Champion this season. I bet you're feeling pretty happy.
Yeah, I am. I've just been reflecting a bit as you guys have been saying your final farewells, but I can't help but going back to the same feeling that, you know, it cannot be stressed enough that how important your involvement is, George, with this league. It's so cool that we're able to race on one night and then watch ourselves back again on the weekend with this commentary team doing what they do. So I'm so grateful to you personally, mate, with what you do, but also to MotorMotion in the whole. I think it's the best league going around in Australia at the moment, and I'm really proud and chuffed and you know, happy that we've been able to at Cooke do the 4-peat. So yeah, Ando out. Yeah, I'm happy.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone who's joined us in chat, absolute legends. Will be with you in a few moments' time as we round out the stream. Well, how about that? Season 4 is done and dusted. Our team's title champion, of course, me, Cooke, Driver Development, swept it up and did an incredible job. 4 titles to their name, and the gauntlet being thrown down by Andrew Scott. Take us down a step. We need an ego adjustment. He's admitted it, and we're looking forward to seeing how they go in Season 5. Bring the fight to them, because they're eager as anything, and I'm sure we'll see most of you, if not all of you, back for Season 5 of the TCR Cup, and a lot of you there for the GT3 Championship starting on the 30th of September. Get your practicing starting, because you're going to need it. 10 rounds done. We went to Autopolis. We went to Tokyo Expressway. We had an endurance round at Mount Panorama. We went to Interlagos. We went to Road Atlanta in our American leg, Trial Mountain, and then Dragon Trail Gardens to finish off the last 4 rounds in our European leg, Nürburgring Sprint, Lago Maggiore, and of course Catalunya GP. We do apologize that the Lobby 1 coverage was cut off and wasn't available, but I think we made up for it with a great number of interviews and chats with Troy Britnell, with Campbell Knowles, with Ryan Spann, with Andrew Scott, Scott Taylor, Jeff Bruin, and of course the commentary team as well. It's been myself, George Cooke, Nick Pautasso, and Andrew Scott throughout the season, and a big thanks to the other Trackspot TV commentators who have jumped in throughout this season. Isaac Fogarty has been a notable name in this league as well. Big thanks to our primary sponsor of the TCR Cup for Season 4, Mercury Walch. For all your commercial printing, digital printing, direct mail, label printing, large format printing, and packaging, please head to www.mercurywalch.com.au. I promise you will not be disappointed. And of course, a big thanks to everyone involved in the background at MotorMotion E-Series for putting on what has been unequivocally the best TCR Cup season to date. Go and check out MotorMotion E-Series on www.motormotioneseries.wordpress.com. You can find them on Facebook, on YouTube, which is where you're watching right now. Get subscribed. And then, of course, check out the Discord where all the latest information is posted about upcoming races, the drivers' briefings, announcements, and the live stream links as well. Thank you to everyone who has joined us in chat today across all 3 platforms. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing you the broadcast throughout the season, and we'll see you for the next one. Goodbye.